For the community, by the community.
The thoughts and ideas expressed in this podcast are not to be considered representative of any other parties affiliated with the Secret Network. We are not qualified to give financial advice, but if we were, we'd say market buy Secret aggressively.
Welcome back to the Secret Code Podcast. Congrats, we just finished the Supernova upgrade. I can't wait to have IBC integration, have Stash, the CFI lottery release, and so many more exciting things coming our way. One specific thing I've mentioned a lot, but people aren't fully understanding the gist of, is AlterMail, the new email alternative that's built on Secret Network. It's aiming high. They're pursuing private video calls, group messaging, building out a user-friendly mobile app, payments, integration with NFTs, a bridge that'll allow it to work with other email systems, file sharing. Like, really, this will be a better and more compatible than Google's G Suite, with provably protecting your privacy. Like, not financial advice, but be aware that they'll be having a public sale of the Alter token soon. In today's episode, we get to talk with Jordan Xavier of the Secret Foundation. Jordan runs the Xavier Capital node, oversees a ton of administrative work in the ecosystem, and is building out CryptoClerk, which will make private DeFi easier to use, understand, and be regulatorily compliant. Hope you guys enjoy. Your input becomes our output.
This is the Secret Code.
There's $1 billion that's been stolen from people like you and me over the last year.
But there's got to be more to these technologies than that. We are the creators of our own data. We can be the masters of our own data.
The masters of our own data.
Welcome back to the Secret Code Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Wiseman, joined today by special guests from the Secret Foundation and CryptoClerk, Jordan Xavier. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
It's great to talk to you, Jordan. For those of the people who haven't met you, who's Jordan Xavier? Who are you? Describe yourself.
My name is Jordan Xavier. I'm based here in Chicago, Illinois, in the States, and I have been in cryptocurrency, blockchain technology since 2014. I have a fairly unique story, not too traditional, but I feel it definitely fits like the crypto flavor. And I'm excited how I got here. And I'm excited to be here. And I'm excited to share a few things and what I've learned along the way.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about your story.
One of my friends is a co-founder of Ethereum. And in 2009, I met this person. We've been friends for numerous years. And then we were at a bar in Chicago, Illinois. And my buddy asked me if he could pay his portion of the tab in Bitcoin. And we all looked at each other like, what the fuck? No, like we got to pay this bill today. We have today bills. But it caught my interest because there's like 5 of us there, but everyone kind of dismissed him, but I definitely caught interest. So he used to travel. He was on the Bitcoin crypto circuit back in the day. So then when he came in town one day, I was like, hey man, I was like, what is that Bitcoin thing you're talking about? He said, nah, we off that. We on Ethereum now. And ever since then, it was a wrap for me. So ever since 2014, I've been receiving a salary in the space. I overseen pretty much a majority of whatever he had going on, whether it was consulting, advising, biz dev, real estate, property management, and I set up a nonprofit that focused on blockchain education as well. So it was definitely a fun ride from 14 to 20, but then that's kind of when I came ahead and pivoted over to Secret.
Awesome. And you were the main contact that Paul and I had when we were setting up our podcast as a snack, a Secret Network Action Campaign. And you did the whole KYC thing so we could get paid and everything's above the books. I know a lot of people think, oh, Secret Network is for money laundering. It's not. We're all about being regulatorily compliant. And we've seen that that's kind of a lot of what you do for the Secret Foundation. We appreciate the work you do. What kind of work did you do before 2014, before getting into this? Were you a CPA, a tax guy, a businessman?
So actually I missed a part. So what I do for the foundation, I'll get into this a little bit later, is I'm the director of operations. I oversee human management, human capital, as well as coordination of the network. And like I said, I try to be the personability to the network, but I oversee pretty much compliance, accounting, and all legal matters for the foundation. What I did previously to 2014 depends where you want to start, but here in my Chicago professional life, I started off as an event coordinator. That was in my early 20s. I used to get paid to party here in Chicago, and I realized it wasn't probably the best thing to do. It was fun. It was really tight, but I realized it wasn't probably the best to do. So then I did the opposite of getting paid to party. I threw myself in the kitchen, started off as a prep cook, and eventually I'm a climber. I'm definitely a leader. So I definitely worked my way up to assistant manager to manager. And I didn't want to buy into the business. And that's kind of that time frame where I'm at the bar, and opportunity, one thing led to another. And that's kind of how I pivoted into crypto.
Nice. Excellent job adapting. And you've done a wonderful, wonderful job here with Secret Network and the foundation. And I'm sure you've done a great job with your buddy and with the Ethereum network. So I knew that you did have quite a few years of experience before we got into this. So it's awesome to have you on board, and we're grateful for what you do. Do you have a couple non-generic traits about yourself you'd like to share? Something that might connect your great-great-grandkids to you, that we could kind of get to know Jordan a little bit better?
Yeah, I remember listening to a Sasha answer. I remember listening to a Sasha episode. I remember listening to maybe Ethan of the CFI Gov. Shout out to Iowa. I remember thinking like, those are some great ass answers. I can't recall them right now, but I was like, damn, I wish I had a good answer. And I don't want to fuck up on the view and key question. So how would I describe myself? I would like to think my grandkids would think I'm caring. I look out for people. I am a leader, but I'm also considerate and want the best for everyone around me, because what makes me happiest is when my friends and family are doing well around me. It makes me want to do better.
That's awesome. Yeah, excellent choices, Ethan, Asaf, like great friends of the show. And in general, all of the answers I've gotten from all of my awesome guests have really put me to shame, but it's wonderful. And I do keep them on hand. Ethan talked about caring for the earth and kind of being a little bit of a hippie, and Asaf just saying, oh, I'm just a regular guy and whatnot. He's just super genius out here, like just building stuff in 2 hours that most people are wondering if is even possible. So we really have an incredible community, including yourself. So that's awesome.
Well, appreciate it. I love the wide array of different personalities and types and skill sets of the Secret Network. One thing that I knew that was absolutely needed in blockchain and crypto land was people taking their traditional skills from IRL traditional land and bringing them over the bridge, no pun intended, to crypto land to have them contribute their skills, because the world, blockchain and crypto is more than developers and finance people. And we need people to fill that entire company, not just positions.
Absolutely. If it's going to take over industry, it has to incorporate all of industry. You're 100% right. So how did you make that transition from working with Ethereum to Secret Network?
That's a great question. So in 2016 or 17, my old boss, everyone wanted his name and his likeliness when there was the ICO boom and craze. So we decided to wind down the consulting and spin up a nonprofit that focused on blockchain education. So we would go out into the Chicagoland area, the Chicago blockchain scene, and make friends, network, socialize. And there was always one or two people who would always really stand out. And one of them was Tor Bear. Whenever we would talk or whenever he would just like speak, people would listen. And as a person who likes to lead, not so much follow, I would listen. And he always just caught my attention. We introduced ourselves. And this is when Enigma raised around 40 plus mil. And like they're the first, Tor was based in Chicago, Illinois. So he was like the hot guy on the scene. He was just a great speaker. So when I ended my time at Blockchain Institute, the 501c3 public charity, I took a few months off. But then unfortunately, the pandemic kicked in. I was actually going to Coinbase, BitPay, Bitmart. There's a few places out there. And the West Coast I was going out to. But then the pandemic kicked in and everyone rescinded their offers. And I'll never forget this. Here's a tidbit that was a very, very terrible day in my life, but it was a hard week. But it's also what made me grow stronger and led me to Secret Foundation, Secret Network. In March, I came back from traveling. I realized something wasn't right. It was like early March, so I started applying. I told my landlord I was not going to be renewing my lease. And I started applying. I got second, third interviews. People were planning on flying me out. And one day I woke up and I got a denial letter. It went from the original recruiter to just an automated email. And I was like, well, that's weird. And the next day I got an email, and the next day. And for 6 to 7 days, on the seventh day, I was looking forward to the rejection letter because I just wanted to go 7 for 7. Because who can say they got 7 rejection letters in 7 days? And sure enough, Robinhood was the last one. And then went again from very personal with the recruiter, canceled flights, to just automated email. But then on the 8th day, San Francisco shut down and the state of California shut down. And then later that week, Chicago was shut down for St. Patty's Day or the weekend before that. And COVID came about. And we all know how that goes from there. But that led me to a funny little tidbit that I hope my other coworkers don't hear. And if they do, please know that I absolutely love them with all my heart. But the story's a little funny. So at the public charity Blockchain Institute, I was the operations manager, the day-to-day, but I was also the secretary and treasurer of the board. So when I left Blockchain Institute, I retained my board member seats to help make sure the organization could still move forward and function, but I walked away from the operations manager role. So therefore, I kept my email. So one day when Tor emailed me inquiring, but he tagged the other two managers that I wasn't too fond of at the moment. I just said, that's their problem. Tor's a great guy. They can go ahead and deal with him. Sure enough, my older brother, Jeremy, messaged me and I ignored him. And then Corey called me. And Corey and I have been friends for years. I brought him on to work at Blockchain Institute with me. And we've been friends for about 5-6 years. And we text and we meet in person. We do not call. So when he called me, he's like, hey, George, what's up? I'm like, nothing. He's like, you still looking for a job? I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you still in blockchain and crypto? I'm like, trying to be. He's like, you still doing compliance and nonprofit? I'm like, all right, yeah, like what's going on? He's like, the email that you ignored, Tor wants you to set up a public charity on Enigma's forked blockchain called Secret. They want you to set up a public charity that focuses on privacy and growth and all these great things. And I was just like, I grew up Catholic and I don't practice anymore, but it's still ingrained in me. And one thing that I've always kept in me is peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. Once you're down, only way you can do is go up. So it was shortly after those 7 days, I just got crushed. And like I felt like my whole professional career was coming to a hiccup. And then here comes Tor, this one person who can maybe captivate me in Chicago, offers me this olive branch to do this awesome thing and go after this new challenge. And so, of course, I took it. And fast forward, today is November 9th, 2021. I've been here for approximately 16, 17 months.
Dude, that's awesome. Excellent story. Thanks for sharing that with us. Yeah, that was such a weird time. I bought my house last February because I had zero down. I had just gotten out of debt and I'm like, okay, I've got a good job dealing at a casino. And one thing that's for sure is I'm young and able-bodied and casinos don't shut down, right? Next month I'm furloughed. Casinos shut down. I'm like, oh my God.
It just took the world. I mean, no pun intended, but it just took the world by shock. Unfortunately, a lot of countries, but I'm American. A lot of countries are, well, we'll talk about the U.S. because I can speak on the U.S. I perceive us as a reactive country, not a proactive country. So therefore, this hit us twice as hard. So anyone who knows me, I say, let's be proactive, not reactive. And this just emphasized my cause of taking extra precautions. You can't be prepared for everything, but you can be aware of what can go wrong and how to go about it from there.
Yeah. And yeah, about your Catholic story, one of my best friends went to Catholic school and he always kind of jokes about that. If we're looking at a beautiful sunset or something, he'll be like, oh, tomorrow's going to suck. So they must really beat that peaks and valleys into you guys with a ruler pretty hard.
Oh, man. It's just, yeah, we'll go on to the next subject.
All right. So Tor brings you in last year around the time of the pandemic. So you get that olive branch, you get that job, and you set up the foundation. So will you talk me through that process? What is the Secret Foundation? How did you set it up? How's it functioning now?
The Secret Foundation, the idea did not originate from me. I was just the one who executed setting up the entity, bylaws, taking a bunch of inquiries, speaking with legal, speaking with tax attorneys, whole 9 yards. Tor was there throughout the process, but I'm the one who really carried that project from A to Z. I was well along with the tax attorneys as well. So the reason I bring this up is the funding model was already in place. Secret Network, which used to be Enigma blockchain up until February 2020, I believe. Once they forked and had the Genesis block of Secret Network, and Ian's the one who can probably tell best about the story, but him and Tor, and I believe a few other people came up with the idea of Secret Foundation and what it could be, and that it could be funded through inflation or through taxing the rewards of the network. So the entity could be set up. So it was they kind of were going for something similar to what Zcash had, where the stakers and the user received a certain portion, but the original investors and it's called the Founders Fund, I think, which is canceled now. But the Founders Fund was Zcash contributors, foundation, and founders all received X percentage of inflation for X amount of time, and that was their reward. So it's called the Founders Reward. But the reason all this makes context is the funding model was already in place before Jordan. And so when I came in, they're like, oh, set up this foundation. I'm like, cool. They're like, well, we want a nonprofit. I was like, oh, well, okay. And they're like, well, we also want to get funded this way. I was like, oh, okay. And I already signed my contract for employment. So I was just like, all right, well, this is a challenge. And one thing that Tor knew is that I like challenges. I set up one of the first 501c3 public charities here in Illinois that focus on blockchain education. So that was a challenge in itself. So this was my new challenge. So I figured, all right. And I took about 15 to 20 RFPs, requests for proposals, from different tax attorneys, firms, groups, all the above. Some people said it couldn't be done. Some people said it couldn't. Tor was very plugged and is very plugged in the blockchain crypto space. So he got a lot of introductions and calls with different people in the space who have set up public charities, including like myself. But they talked about the pros, the cons, what it is, what it isn't, and the way that public charities are funded, or private organizations as well, in the blockchain space is the block rewards or the inflation would go to a person, more likely a founder, and that founder would set up an entity and they would fund the entity. So every day, hypothetically, every month, whatever it may be, on Zcash, Zuko or whomever would receive that pay, and then they would donate it, so they would get a tax benefit to the nonprofit for them persons, as well as the foundation or the nonprofit would have funding. But there was a problem because you had to meet certain reporting requirements, and there's a few downfalls of being a public charity. Everybody or anybody who knows the U.S. is pretty much based upon taxes, and anybody or anyone who doesn't pay taxes in the United States is pretty much an arm of the federal government, right? So one of the reasons, I'll get into this more later, one of the reasons we chose not to go the 501c3 route, public charity or private organization, or 501c4 lobbyist group, was because for two reasons. A, the funding model was not accepted. Any donation over $5,000 in the year period needs to be KYC'd. And how do you KYC a blockchain? Especially when we're receiving inflation at 15% at that time, we were getting 5K secret a day, possibly in like 60-cent price. So that was the first reason it didn't work. This is a very forward-thinking industry and a very archaic reporting system. So it was a headache, and Tor see me grow flustered. So I remember speaking with a few community members and asking if public charity was the only way to go, because I started noticing some loopholes. And, the more RFPs or requests for proposals I had, the more well-versed I was becoming, the more I was able to talk to business professionals, and the more I actually understood where I could actually take advantage of this. So I did my research, and I kept Googling private entities funded by a blockchain, compliant companies by a blockchain. And I was just trying a whole wide array of things. I just could not find too much. So the workaround I found, and I'll keep my trade secrets together because this may be the first type in the US, maybe even the world, to be compliant in this manner. But I found a way to bypass the owner or founder, so Tor in this case, receiving payment or inflation, and the entity could be fully funded by the blockchain. And let me say that again because I think I messed up. I found a way for the entity, Secret Foundation, to receive payment or income on a daily basis and not use the words blockchain or crypto. I learned the IRS tax law when it comes to blockchain and crypto, which had not changed since 2014 once I entered the space. And I just used their language and their verbiage to our advantage.
That's an excellent story. I've always kind of been curious about that. So one of the reasons I was excited to have you on the show is I want to learn this stuff, and I'm not disappointed. So thank you very much for walking me through that.
Yeah, last time I skipped a point. When you are a public charity and you decide to dissolve that, all equipment, resources, and funds cannot be returned to any one sole person or entity. That has to be distributed back to a good standing public charity or 501c, whatever. If something were to happen and the foundation were to wind down, we have the option to give back the funds to the community. But if we were a public charity, by law, we would have to give those funds to another good standing nonprofit. So I thought that was a very big factor in the decision making.
Yeah, that's huge. I know that a lot of people were confused. Like, hey, I know they were trying to make a nonprofit, and then they came out with a for-profit company. But at the same time, it's imperative we say regulatorily compliant, and that's huge. If all of the infrastructure, all of the materials held by the foundation, if it were to get liquidated or voted out of power or anything like that, would not be able to be maintained by the network. They'd have to be given to a different nonprofit, and that's a huge risk.
Community Spotlight.
Hey, Jordan. So for this week, I have your community spotlight question. This question is from Tyler, and it is, how should businesses think about accepting crypto? What could that look like?
Awesome. That's a great question. So for those who don't know, I actually have a small consulting company on the side, and I help people, businesses get up to date, compliant, kind of similar to what I do at the foundation, but more for the smaller everyday person. But one thing I also do and I've been wanting to do is kind of like a pet project. Here in Chicago, for those who don't know, we have terrible, terrible winters. So it might be a winter project. But I would love to draw up a process that allows everyday users or business owners, whomever, accept cryptocurrency as payment and have it be have the reporting be very frictionless and not as daunting as it technically is, as well as either help them set up with a custodial service like BitPay or something along those lines, or teach them how to do it themselves. Teach them how to balance their books at the end of every week for those when they did accept cryptocurrency as payment. It goes back to the public charity. I taught 90% of the people who were under me at that charity about blockchain tech and taught them the actual tech. And I have a non-technical background, but when you learn from a developer, unfortunately, you have no option. So I just, as everyone in the Secret Network knows, I'm here to help. And so in the same string, I would like to help empower people learn to do it themselves, not rely on the third party. But as a business owner, as people who do business, there's only so much time in a day. And so sometimes you do pay for third-party services.
And for like a third-party service, do you just like incorporate BitPay or something as a widget on your website?
Yeah, so I haven't really put too much thought in this because my time has been Secret Network and Secret Foundation based. So I really haven't gone down this rabbit hole too much, but just off the top of my head, it could be as easy as QR codes at the cash register and have that attached to BitPay and or whomever, third-party service, and have them do the parameter stuff in the background, and it's just frictionless on the owner. Or you can empower the owner a little bit more and have them train their register workers or whomever to share and distribute the appropriate wallets when requested for payment. That way they can retain sole custody and 100% funds minus transactional costs of their income compared to paying that percentage to another third party.
That would be super cool. I know, Visa and MasterCard usually charge about 3 to 4% in transactions, and those are actually just priced in by stores at this point, expecting people to pay with card. But that's like huge processing fees. So if you can keep all of it as a store owner, that would be awesome. Thank you. That's an awesome answer, Jordan. And great question, Tyler. Thank you very much for asking it.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. I'm sure I'll go back and I'll think of something better. And I always will. I just watched the Kanye West Drink Champs, and he went on tangents. He was answering questions, and like 15 minutes later, he went back to like one of the first questions. Like, no, I want to elaborate on this, just because your mind's already going, even though. So I might go back and comment on actually how I can improve, because I might solve that problem while we go through this podcast. So who knows? We'll see.
Well, I won't just be excited when I say yay.
But I will not go full Kanye. I will say that. I will not go full Kanye.
All right. Jordan, talk to us a little bit about the project that you've been coming out with. I've done a little bit of research into it, and it looks fantastic. But you've talked a bit about your experience about setting up businesses, looking at nonprofits, 501c3, 4, and 5s, and handling the business and admin stuff behind crypto. So talk to us about CryptoClerk, one of your brainchildren that you've been building on the side.
So this is one of the reasons Eric and Paul have asked me to be on this, and I said I would be on this podcast with the whole foundation. I'm a team player, not so much an individual. So I don't really like singling myself out. So to stick to that same chord, CryptoClerk was a team effort. Anyone who knows me knows it's a team effort. We all did it, and we all are super happy with what we put together. How it came about was actually this time last year. I was at the foundation from June, so a few months in, and I was just getting acclimated with the community. And I seen this reporting problem. Like, okay, Tor, well, I found a way for us to receive inflation. I found a way for us to report, but like, this is very daunting. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I have to do this long, drawn out thing for every account at the same time to have the same standard method to make sure I stay consistent. And I was like, this is daunting. I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry, but we cannot liquidity provide. Like, the administrative requirements are just a headache, and they can be done, but I'm non-technical. I grew up working in the space, hands on keyboard. I wasn't trained classically for this. So I'm not drawing up these long spreadsheets and, querying secret CLI and all these things. Just because I can change a tire doesn't mean I want to be a fucking mechanic. And so, at the same time, I can do some things, but that doesn't mean I'm the utmost professional or the go-to in this area. So last Thanksgiving, or the end of November 2020, I wrote a unofficial forum post that pretty much proposed CryptoClerk in a different manner, as well as a native stablecoin for Secret Network. And I didn't know too much what I was talking about, but I knew what I needed to pay contractors, because the foundation was tasked with paying contractors, community leads, or contributors. And I seen the upside they were taking, but I also acknowledged the downside. So I would always highly suggest that you would think about all your operating costs and be very mindful of what's going on, because as much as there's an upside, there's a flip side of every coin, and there's downside as well. And that's why for the stablecoin, contractors should get paid in stablecoin to get paid for their worth and their work, and then they can opt in to buy SERT or CFI or Shade, whatever it may be. So just trying to look out for people, right? I see the problems, and I was trying to offer it. The post went it was my first time introducing myself to the behind the scenes of Secret Network. And I'm like, here's a problem, here's my solution, but I'm not technical. I need you guys to fill in the blank for me. And it definitely was received nicely. People definitely told me I was on the right path. But one of the Enigma devs told me that this was not a Secret Network problem, but a Cosmos SDK issue. And that deterred me a little bit, and I actually backed away and didn't post anything publicly. But their words resonated. And like I said, I like a challenge. So someone told me a long time ago that there's 75 ways to go about things. So the way I wanted to go, which was I was proposing that we remove the claim button from Kepler. And that way we would just get paid out either once a month or once a week. Because 52 lines of reported income or 24 lines of income is better than clicking it just at your whim, or 365 days of reported income. Because one of the issues and the main purposes of CryptoClerk was this. And I am not a CPA. I am not a tax attorney. This is not financial advice. Anyone who knows me knows I'm the very conservative one of the group, of the industry, to be honest. But, I don't have room for error. Things can go very wrong if I played a little bit loose. So here's an example that I give everybody, and then you'll see insert CryptoClerk. The IRS, pretty much, they treat cryptocurrency like property. In this case, digital property. But the example I always give people is, say you have a rental property. The IRS does not want to know how much you bring in yearly. They don't want to know how much you bring in quarterly, but they want to know how much the tenant pays every day. So if you are staking or liquidity providing, they want to know how much income you bring in every day. On top of that, you have capital gains or capital losses due to the fluctuation. So if you receive SERT as reward at one price, you got to know your entry point and your fair market value, because once you sell it, you need to know your exit position as well as with short-term and long-term capital gains. That right there is a lot. Now imagine the reporting component on top of that. This is not for the everyday user, but everyone says, oh, we want to be mass appeal, mass adoption, XYZ, but we are not setting our users up for success. So it was a team effort. We're a small ragtag group of community members who are non-developers, mine's a few of us, who wanted to contribute our skill set to Secret Network. I run a validator, Xavier Capital, and this is my way of offering and contributing to the network without being technical like the rest of the validators. So this is our attempt to add value to Secret Network through a free application that is not only for tracking rewards, but it also allows you to convert secret, vice versa. You can send and receive an app. You can stake an app. You can check out CFI pools. You can check out the bridge. Our motto was the one-stop shop for all things DeFi on Secret Network. But there's a lot being built, so we changed it a little bit. It's most things DeFi on Secret Network, because the network is continuously growing.
Dude, that is awesome. So it makes it easier for accessibility as well as compliance, and that's fantastic. How is this going to change when if they pass something for taxing unrealized capital gains?
Let's get into that later. Let's understand the application first before we the hypotheticals, because one of my pitches to Tor and Secret Foundation in Inception was, as Enigma had those legal issues. And so I knew, because I was familiar and I held ENG, and so did everyone in my old previous office. We were very familiar with Enigma. So when the legal battles were going on and that was kind of wind down, I made my promise. And I said, you don't need to ask for permission with me, nor do you need to ask for forgiveness. Just tell me where you're going, and I'll sprint there right alongside there with you and make sure that you're compliant. And if you're getting out of bounds, I can tell you. But you don't need to completely wing it, but also you don't need to pay fines at a later date because you were unaware. I am here to let people be aware. I think all projects should have a compliance person or someone to help them in the inception to make sure that they're going down the right path, because I've seen so many teams build and they get to the end point, they're like, oh, we didn't take in consideration the tax implications, or we didn't take in consideration XYZ when building this for our users. If it's for the users, but you didn't take in consideration, did you really build it for the users or did you build it for yourself?
That is an excellent point. I've got a question kind of, I know there have been quite a few upgrades slowly from the SNP 20s as I've gone SNP 20 to 21, 22, and now we're actually on SNP 24 as a current updated project. And I know that one of those is the ability to kind of query and see all of your previous interactions with them in order to ensure regulatory compliance. Has that been an issue that has frustrated you guys as you built CryptoClerk? Like you couldn't see the previous transactions on CeFi, stuff like that?
So that was one of the main reasons CryptoClerk was built, is because not only was it a very much of a burden for me to track things manually, minus secret nodes, there's no other way to really track your interactions at Secret Network. It only shows that you interacted with contracts or you interacted with the bridge or something along those lines. It does not have identifiable information, which is needed for reporting. You can want to report. It doesn't need to be about compliance. It can just want to be about the health of your business and the health of your portfolio or your strategy thesis. It doesn't necessarily just need to be about compliance. Compliance is what helps make sure that you don't pay fees and fines and stay at a white collar jail. But financial prudency and knowing your balance sheet and what you're working with, your short term, long term, what batch of tokens this is, that is very important for an owner or just an operator to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm definitely looking forward to once we do get that full upgrade going. I know it's going to be a big pool migration, but we have several needs for that anyways. So it's cool seeing Secret Network develop from its origin, having the first smart contracts available to really bettering and perfecting those smart contracts. And I've enjoyed having conversations off air with us often, hearing his thought processes as he goes through these and with Itzik. And yeah, brilliant developers, brilliant team. And it's I'm glad that you're helping out from the non-technical side as well to make this much more practical for users. So I'm definitely going to be personally using CryptoClerk.
Yeah, no, maybe I'd act this as a shameless plug. One of the main reasons that this really came about was because a lot of people on the network were staking SCRT, but they were also staking CeFi. So I was trying to be a bit opportunistic, and I am more Jordan Xavier than I am Jordan Secret Foundation throughout the day, week, year. And so I tried to solve a problem, and I was like, I hit up the devs halfway through. I was like, hey guys, I pretend like I was knowing what I was talking about. I was like, isn't CryptoClerk just an interface that we just interact with different smart contracts to query balances and interactions? And they're like, what do you want? I'm like, we should add CeFi because the CeFi community is tight and we need to go ahead and allow them to track their rewards as well. Because if it's a problem for us, it's going to be a problem for them. And I actually got little to no kickback. It would just add it to our list. And as most projects, things get pushed back. With our good old maintenance Monday and now Supernova, we're looking to put up CryptoClerk here in beta here probably in November to stick to the SNP timeline. A little late, sorry, Tor. But, this is a product that's by the community, for the community. It's going to have its bugs. It's going to be fucked up. It's going to be this. But that's the beauty of it is just, we're all trying, we're all contributing. And if people want to help fix it, it's not going to be open sourced, but we will definitely have and pay people to help fix this. Like we have a team. Let me rephrase. By team, I mean people who are familiar with me and Secret Network who contributed minus their actual 9-to-5s or contributing to Secret at a different level. But it's super exciting. We're trying to solve problems that we think are problems. And we're using our traditional skill sets to contribute to Secret Network. And that's why I think it's awesome. That's why I think the people contributing think it's awesome, because they've seen the problem we were trying to solve, as well as they can contribute in their own manner.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I always have to help out and plug for anybody who's taking CeFi to heart. So I appreciate you for that, brother. And if you check out CryptoClerk.xyz, it'll say, hey, support this, delegate to the Xavier Capital node. That is Jordan's node. I know he does a lot of things behind the scenes, but he's super helpful. He is an excellent node, and you will qualify for the maximum amount of Shade airdrop. Delegating to his node or the Secret Code Podcast node.
So tidbit how the validator came about and why I still run it today. And just a bit of information, because I'm sure people are always curious. Secret Foundation could not afford full-time employees in 2020. So Tor and I made the decision to only hire contractors for 2020, including myself, until the token either had value, we could bring in income, or another source of revenue came in. So I'm not ashamed to say I took a pay cut in 2020 and I worked as a contractor. And this was, I figured, let me get some different revenue streams coming in. So the validator was very attractive. Ian, the secret nodes, definitely helped me get it up and running. And it definitely was a new experience. It was my first time node running. Everyone kept saying these words to me, and I'm like, "Oh, this is cool. It's just like a way for to bring in income." And then I realized the true magnitude of what this actually is and how great it is, and the dope ass validator set that's here in Secret Network. And it's getting competitive. I was number 31 not even a month ago, and now I'm trying to stay in the top 50. So it's super competitive, but like in my mind, it's like it's cool because Secret's growing. People are validating us. This is a real thing. And I just want to contribute again to however I could. It was like back in the Ethereum days when I was there at the foundation, I ran a full node on my little laptop. And it was not just because I was part of the Geth team or the Go team. It was because I just want to contribute to Ethereum.
All right, dude, it is time. I know you've been afraid of it, but you've made it to the viewing key. What will be the first NFT set released on Stash? Is it A, Anons, 580 of them, and they're rare? B, Quentin Tarantino's NFTs, 7 from Pulp Fiction plus props? C, M-Props, Emergent Properties, Secret Generative NFTs? Or D, Secret Dogs, 185 personalized puppers?
E, everybody. I want to see everyone on Secret Network fucking win. I want everyone to make as much money as possible and to do as well, and for artists to be able to monetize their content and get the monetization and the acknowledgement that they deserve. Final answer, E, everyone fucking eats and wins.
That's not correct. Trying to win by cop-out, absolutely not. While all of these are actual sets and projects being built for NFTs on Secret Network, the technical first one released on Stash, since Anons was before it, is going to be the Secret Dogs. 185 personalized puppers, and it's possible that not all of them are going to be dogs.
So, here's a little tidbit for those. I know people like alpha in this ecosystem and this whole industry. CryptoClerk V1, its current state right now, is shoring up the rewards, especially post Supernova, for both CFI and Secret. The Kepler interactions are good to go, but the alpha is for V2. Once we shore up things the community would like to see more, we will more likely display shade rewards, as well as allow users the ability to view their NFTs in their portfolio or in their wallets.
That is sick. Nice. I love it. And a little bit more about a plug for Secret Dogs. I'm bringing this up not only for intrinsic value and for it being a good question, but also because while I've been a white hat in the past, I have done a full heel turn and am a villain. I intend to get as many Secret Dogs as I possibly can. And if I get your dog, I'm going to list it for a high price. And if you don't reach it, I'm going to send it to Mount Doom, a burn address, and I will put down your dog.
No animals were hurt in the filming of this podcast.
No guarantees for that.
Only Eric is opportunistic and ready to make some money. But don't worry, guys. I'm here to help. I'll give Eric some paperwork and keep his ass busy. That way we can all get some Secret Dogs and all the NFT projects.
So moving on, how important do you believe that the type of software such as CryptoClerk will be for crypto moving forward?
So I got a good tidbit again for people. Coming up from the Ethereum, like a few degrees from the Ethereum Foundation, my introduction as a non-developer was my crypto, or back then, my Ether wallet. So most people ask me, oh, you just built a Zapper or Zerion, but the Secret Network version. I was like, no. They built the My Ether or my crypto version, the new version. I built the Secret Network version of my Ether wallet, my crypto.
Now, while we do not only worry about being regulatorily compliant in the current state of regulations, there's obviously been plenty of speculation about future regulations, perhaps with the current infrastructure bill. And I know you don't like to play too much of what ifs, but what do you think the long-term effects of unclear regulation in emergent technologies are? Like, what are your thought processes behind it? What do you think is dangerous, or what goes through your mind about it?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. It's not that I avoid it. It's just more along the lines that I like to be proactive and not reactive. So this may be my first formal shout out to secret network users to form the compliance committee or something along those lines, because we need to be ahead of things, not behind things. I point everyone to please look up Uniswap government's fiasco. The DeFi, the Harvard Business School, or no, who was it? There's a collegiate business school who asked for a very large sum. They wanted to set up like a 501c4 lobbying group and go out there and lobby on behalf of DeFi, Uniswap, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just ridiculed on Twitter and on forums for days, on weeks on end. And then it passed. You can do your own research, but it passed. And people ridiculed it for about a day or two or a short period of time. And then the new infrastructure bill came out, and they realized that they were being proactive and not reactive. And instead of the uni community looking to form an entity or something like that, they already funded one. It was roaring, full of professionals ready to go. So again, being proactive, not reactive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we lean into this? I'm going to dance around your question a little bit, but I'm going to answer to the best of my knowledge. I'm a betting man, and I would bet that the U.S. government is going to make laws that is not going to undo their previous legal actions or fines. So if we know that if we lean on this side and we know they're not going to undo something, and we can lean, it's going to be easier to adjust to what they are going to do compared to take this libertarian, fuck the government, fuck the banks. That's not how I perceive things. I believe in playing the game and changing the rules from within and not complaining at the starting line about the game. So, I think it'd be up to me and other like-minded people to pay attention, which everyone is. Crypto Twitter and compliance Twitter is really popping. And just stay up to date on infra bills, the amendments, all the senators. Call your senators, tell them about what you like, what you don't like. Coin Center does an amazing job. I mean, all the lobbyist group, Blockchain Association, DeFi Alliance. There's so many people out there that I can't even name them all, to be truthful. But they're all doing a great job. It's just we are stronger together than we are individually. And it's really satisfying to see the blockchain and crypto space come together to help try to shape and make the United States competitive and not let us fall to the wayside.
Absolutely. And I know that crypto is worldwide, but after probably China, the US seems to be the second worst country in terms of crypto hardcore regulation. And we are seeing political gains. We've got Senator Toomey starting to really embrace the whole crypto movement. And we've got new crypto focused senators that are starting to rise up. So it might be kind of a new faction of the Libertarian Party that takes in some from the blue, some from the red, and just focuses more on economic freedom and responsibility. We've got Ryan Selkis now that's going to be running for Senate. And I do expect crypto, especially now there's more money behind it, to set up more PACs and have more money go into education in law and actual lobbying. So excellent point. I know that everyone likes to play the games of that we will not comply. That being said, if we want to make a change, we have to be part of the game.
Well, here's something that I find very, very interesting. I know I'm going a bit off topic, but I feel that this is a podcast for conversation and talking about issues that are going on in our world, and taking the past and history and not repeating themselves and doing a better job than we did before. So I am not an economist. Again, I used to manage a pizza shop and a restaurant back in the day, and I've just been doing operations and management in the same position since 2014. So please bear with me. I'm sure many people are going to correct me, but I'll learn, so I don't give a fuck. So next, where I'm going with this is, like most people in crypto and blockchain, because I do see those as two different things. But most people in blockchain and crypto are somehow go through a libertarian phase, more likely because they're jaded by the administration, the government, banks, large entities, healthcare. So everyone, not everyone, but most people have dipped their toes in libertarianism, either whether it's research, reading books, not going to go down that whole rabbit hole. But then I'll only talk for myself. I came out the other side of the rabbit hole shortly after and realized, okay, there's two sides of the coin. So then I started looking up Keynesian monetary value or theory. And I was like, oh, okay, so they pretty much want to be centralized. They want to pretty much have everything run through them. And libertarians want them to do the opposite, as minimal government interference as possible. And then, again, being here in Chicago for almost 20 years, the University of Chicago being the great university and hub it always has been, I've learned about the Chicago economic theory. And that was written by a bunch of economists, and I believe like the 60s or 70s. But the main thing was, whenever it was pre-internet. But their thing was minimal government interaction, but some. The vitals, the veins, the things that were needed, but also they don't believe the government should be in their ass 100%, right? So it was like a nice, healthy mix. So one thing that I always wanted to do, and this is definitely above my pay grade, but I always wanted to be a part of a project or team to write the new way, especially being here in Chicago and having the Chicago Pride, to really write the new age Chicago economic theory, where that smart trust is smart contracts and blockchain technology. It doesn't, like, people don't trust the government doesn't trust the people to be 100% honest. Now we have a system that we can trust.
Last question for you. I know you're a big Chicago sports guy. Who is the best player in Chicago Bulls history, and why is it Lonzo Ball?
So Eric and I actually had a joke earlier that and who knows, maybe we actually might do this. I do need some help with the promotion because CryptoClerk is a side project, and I really don't. I want to give it to the community or have the community help maintain it, and not so much be a Jordan thing. That's why it's free. But I would love to do maybe some promotion for it, and maybe Eric can talk about this in the background. But I would love to get LeVar Ball, Lonzo's dad, to do a cameo and shout out CryptoClerk and Secret Network. I don't care if anyone else likes it. It will make me happy. I will talk shit to Eric. I will talk shit to Paul. Buddy, whatever your team is, you're on the East Coast, you can get it to, Chicago does not play. Shout out to Michael Jordan. Shout out to Derrick Rose. No one likes Carlos Boozer. No one likes Carlos Marmol. The White Sox are good. Cubs are where it's at, even though the Cubs fans suck. Like, I'm a Cubs fan. It's just what it is. Chicago is one of the best cities, one of the most diverse cities in the entire world. And whenever anyone from Secret Network comes here, best believe me and Tor are definitely going to try to buy you a beer, buy you dinner, or let you buy me a beer and let you buy us dinner.
Well, I'm going to come out to Chicago. I'm going to get you a beer and let's go see a Bulls game. I've been watching Lonzo and his brothers play since high school. They grew up pretty close to me, and I'm a huge UCLA fan. So I followed him from the Lakers to the Pelicans, and now I'm a diehard Bulls fan, lifelong Bulls fan until he gets traded again.
Of course. Well, I actually have some questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What does CFI and what do you have going on, and where can people learn more about you? And so we can give you some more shine in Secret Network, because you do a great job of giving else a shine and spotlight. So please, this is not the viewing key, but please take 30 seconds and tell us what you have going on. And I want Paul to even say hello and peek his head out, because he's a great guy in the background as well. And new guy, you all right.
Thank you so much, Jordan. So obviously for the podcast, we have our own website, we have YouTube and everything, but check out secretcodepodcast.com. You'll have links to our tweets. You'll have our YouTube videos as well as just our podcast you can listen to. And then on the Secret Swap side, which is probably the more primary hat I've been wearing these days, please come to our committee meetings every Wednesday. It's 9 a.m. Pacific where I'm at, but I don't know if it's 4 o'clock UTC or 5 o'clock UTC based on the time change, but it's right after the governance chat. So everyone wants to go in and hear P Mook because he's the hero of the network, really. But stick around for an hour after that, and we keep you guys up to date. We try to have presentations every now and then. There's plenty of reasons to be bullish on CFI, and we might be going to some conferences soon, and just lots of big meetings. But we try to disclose quite a bit there, and on the Secret Swap Telegram as well.
Hey, what's up, guys? Again, just glad to be a part of the Secret Code podcast team. I think what we had envisioned, to see it actually come true, really means something. I feel like it's very important to give anyone contributing to the network the kind of spotlight that they deserve, and everyone needs to be heard. And I think that moving forward, we'll continue to keep giving people the spotlight, keep giving them the exposure, keep educating the community, and just making it a very homey network where everyone can get to know each other. So I'm just excited to keep pushing the narrative forward. And let's go Secret.
Exactly. Go CFI, go Shade, go everything built on Secret Network. Like, we want to see everyone win here.
Lastly, Jordan, how can people reach you? Shill your Twitter.
Yeah. No, you can definitely find me at scrt.network. You could find me at Secret Podcast. You could find me at CFI Gov. You can find me at Gov. You can find me at Daddy Committee. Shout out to Superfish. You could hit up Coach and the Say team. Shout out to Coach Carter, Mohammed, Dalton, Jeremy. You can find me at Secret Network, because it is not about Jordan. It's about Secret Network. And if you want to find me, go talk to somebody else.
I respect that. That's probably the smartest answer you can make as well. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on the show. I learned a lot. I think that everything that you're handling from the admin perspective is fantastic and imperative. We are where we're at today, and we're going to get where we're going because there is a secret foundation, and you played an incredibly integral part in setting that up and in running that. So thank you so much. You're doing an excellent job, dude. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was great being here, and I look forward to coming on here with Tor and the rest of the foundation and letting them explain a lot more what the foundation does. And I can tell you why, but they can tell you how and what they go about.
I can't wait, dude.
Thank you for deciphering the secret code. For the community, by the community. New episodes every Sunday. Secret Sunday.
Thanks for listening. To get more involved, join our Telegram. Learn the guests early, ask the community spotlight question, and take part in giveaways. Some SCRT, some Ultramail subscriptions. Only the best for our secret codes and codettes. Next week, we're going to be learning a lot more about secret NFTs, so stick around.